there aren't a lot of functioning democracies around the world that work this way, where you can basically have millionaires and billionaires bankrolling whoever they want, however they want, in some cases undisclosed. And what it means is ordinary Americans are shut out of the process.
That's what it means. The warnings about billionaires hijacking American elections, your voting power, date back to President Obama there discussing the Supreme Court gutting what were legal limits on just how much billionaires could spend or hijack these elections. And the warnings were prescient. There's been a flood of corporate money going into these midterms. The richest 10 billionaires in the country mostly align with Trump and make it pretty clear this time around. Zuckerberg's empire is putting over $60 million just to back politicians who are allied with their plans to profit from AI, which may be unpopular if you held it to a vote, given all of the risk and how it could cost people jobs. AOC also speaking out.
Extreme levels of income inequality lead to social instability and drives, in a sense, in authoritarianism, right-wing populism, and very dangerous domestic internal politics. And that is a direct outcome of not just income inequality, but the failure of democracies over decades to deliver.
The arguments here are not about what to do within the system. Who should pay higher taxes? Why should so many billionaires pay lower tax rates than, say, you or their secretaries? That's within the system. The wider alert here is that the system itself may not function anymore if we call it a democracy, but it doesn't run like one. Economist and longtime author Paul Krugman says we face an extreme threat from the tidal wave of billionaire influence. The Nobel-winning economist joins us now. Welcome. Explain your concern here.
Okay, so first of all, just look at what's happened in the last few years. We have, X, formerly Twitter, was an important communications medium. Elon Musk bought it for $44 billion and has turned it into a cesspool of white supremacists, a lot of open Nazis, and that has really changed the discourse. We have Larry Ellison, who's only a little bit less incredibly rich than Musk, has, in effect, has bought CBS, which is being rapidly degraded. We've all been watching that story, and is trying to buy Warner Brothers, which would mean controlling CNN. So we have these these are centibillionaires, people worth more than $100 billion, just buying critical institutions in the media space. And then we have campaigns since Citizens United, which opened the floodgates in 2010. We've had just this incredible outpouring, billionaires, mere billionaires, but there's that's a very small group. That's a few thousand people. That's it's not the 1%, it's the 0.002%, roughly speaking. Billionaires accounted for about 16% of political spending in the last election. That's incredible. That's an incredibly tiny group of people, completely out of touch with the concerns of ordinary Americans, and they have bought themselves enormous political power. And one of the things that's really critical here, that's really disturbing, is, Citizens United didn't come out of thin air. That was the result of a long campaign by billionaires. So what's happening is not only are billionaires buying influence within the system, they're also buying changes in the system that enlarge that influence. And this is a catastrophic course. It's, we're already well down the path to losing what America's supposed to be about.
What does it tell you that they can't win in what we have been told is the, quote, free market of ideas, Professor? I know you like that one.
Yeah.
But,
no, I mean, it's...
Go ahead.
No, I mean, this is, if you do economics, you've known this for a long time. There's a lot of right-wing. I mean, there are people on the left, but right has where world of money and power is. There are a lot of right-wing economic concepts that just don't work. And the question is, why don't they go away? The belief that you got miraculous results from cutting taxes on rich people. Well, why does that stay in existence? The answer is, well, think about the rewards to anybody willing to espouse them. Think about how the system gets rigged. And then particularly, this is something new. What happened in 2024, there was the specific issue of crypto. And the cryptocurrency, they threw an enormous amount of money at, not simply at boosting candidates they liked, but at torpedoing any politician who was mildly critical. That's going to happen again. The crypto guys are at it. And now it's going to happen with AI as well. So if you wanted to talk about pros and cons of AI, there's an interesting discussion to be had there. That's not what we're going to have. What we're going to have is a torrent, a tsunami of pro-AI money, pro-AI without any restraints, without any concerns about all of the various social threats it might pose. But they're just going to try and bury all opposition.
And you mentioned conservative tech moguls trying to buy up media to change what people see and hear. There is news with Buffett taking a stake in the New York Times. How do you view those developments?
I mean, I don't know. I do worry. I mean, the Times, I was there for many years, and it's a critically important institution, especially with so many newspapers dying. And look at what's happened to the Washington Post. I forgot to mention that, but look at what Jeff Bezos has done to the newspaper that brought down Richard Nixon and has now been gutted. The Times has retained its status because it's kind of there's the Sulzberger family and the kind of noblesse oblige that the family has always had. To the extent that we start to get other people, even if it's Warren Buffett, Warren Buffett does not appear to be a bad guy in the way that some of these other guys are. He's not an Elon Musk. But I think it's really disturbing that big money is starting to, we don't have a whole lot of reasonably objective news sources left. And here we go.